Howdy, folks. Hope everybody's doing okay today, at least around where you are. And this is Alan into today's news, where I'm going to talk about the news, tell as much truth as I can from my own opinion. And I got sad news to start out today about the 6 killed after a vintage aircraft collided at Dallas Air Show. I give my condolences to all the relatives of the of the people that didn't make it. Sad day over there. The two historic military planes collided and crashed on the ground in a ball of flames during a Dallas air show, leaving 6 people dead. Official says this is from KMOV4 St. Louis. National Transportation officials were investigating the cause of Saturday's collision and came 3 years after the crash of a World War II air bomber in Connecticut that killed 7, and amid ongoing concerns about the safety of air shows involving older warplanes. Emergency crews raced to the crash scene at the Dallas Executive Airport, about 10 miles, 16 kilometers from the city's downtown. News footage from the scene showed crumbled wreckage of the planes in a grassy area inside the airport perimeter. The in-air collision during the wings over Dallas Air Show claimed 6 lives. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins tweeted Sunday, citing the county medical examiner. Authorities were continuing to work to identify the victims. He said it was not clear if there were any injuries or fatalities on the ground. Dallas Fire Rescue told the Dallas Morning News there were no reports of injury there. Anthony Montoya said the two planes collided. I stood there. I was in complete shock and dispelled, said Montoya, 27, who attended the air show with a friend. Everybody around the was gasping. Everybody was bursting into tears. Everybody was in shock, but they were. Officials did not specify how many people were inside each plane, but Hank Coates, president of the company that put on the air show, said one of the planes, a B-17 Flying Fortress bomber, typically has a crew of 4 to 5 people. The other, a P-63 King Cobra fighter plane, was a single pilot. No paying customer were on the aircraft, says Coates of Commemorative Air Force, which also owned the planes. The aircraft are flown by highly trained volunteers, often retired pilots, he says. Here's a photo they showed. The National Transportation Safety Board took control of the crash scene, with local police and police and fire providing support. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson said the Federal Aviation Administration also was going to investigate, the official says. The videos are heartbreaking, Johnson said on Twitter. The planes collided and crashed about 1:20 p.m., the FAA said in a statement. Victoria Yeager, the widow of a famed Air Force test pilot, Chuck Yeager, and herself a pilot, was also at the show. She didn't see the collision, but did see the burning wreckage. It was pulverized, said Yeager, 64, who lived in Fort Worth. We were just hoping we had all gotten out, but we knew they didn't. We were hoping they all gotten out, but we knew they didn't, she said of those on board. B-17 is a cornerstone store of U.S. air power during World War II. It is an immense four-engine bomber used in daylight raids against Germany. The King Cobra, a U.S. fighter plane, was used mostly by Soviet forces during the war. Most B-17s were scrapped by the end of World War II, and only a handful remain today, largely featured at museums and air shows, according to Boeing. Several videos posted on social media showed the fighter plane appearing to fly into the bomber, causing them to quickly crash to the ground and setting off a large ball of fire and smoke. It was really horrific to see spectator Aubrey Ann Young, 37, of Linder, Texas. Her children were inside the hangar, and her father when it with her father when it happened. I'm still trying to make sense of it. A woman next to Young can be heard crying and screaming on a video that Young uploaded to her Facebook page. Air show safety, particularly with older military aircraft, has been a concern for years. In 2011, 11 people were killed in Reno, Nevada, when a P-51 Mustang crashed into spectators. In 2019, a bomber crashed in Hartford, Connecticut, killing 7 people. The NTSB said then that it had investigated 21 crashes since 1982 involving World War II air bombers, resulting in 23 deaths. Wings Over Dallas bills itself as America's premier World War II air show, according to a website advertising the event. The show was scheduled for November 11th to the 13th, Veterans Day weekend, and guests were to see more than 40 World War II aircraft. Its Saturday afternoon schedule of flying demonstration included a bomber parade and fighter escorts that featured B-17 and P-63. Arthur Allen Woke is a Philadelphia aviation attorney who flew in air shows for 12 years. After watching the air show video and hearing the maneuvers described as bombers on parade, Woke told the Associated Press on Sunday that the P-63 pilot violated the basic rule of formation flying. He went belly up to the leader, Woke said. That prevents him from gauging distance and position. The risk of collision is very high when you cannot see who you are supposed to be in formation with, and that kind of joined up is not permitted. He added, I am not blaming anyone, and to the greatest extent possible, air shows, the pilots, and the aircraft that fly in them are safe. Air shows are one of the largest spectator events in America, and it is rare that a tragedy like this occurs. Woke said, it takes extensive training and discipline to fly in an air show setting. The air show qualifications for the P-63 pilot are not known. Yeah, sad to hear that. Okay, on to other news. Here's something here. It says the world has reached 8 billion people, but soon will hit a decline. Will never reverse. This week, the world's population kicks over a historic milestone, but in the next century, society will be reshaped dramatically, and soon will hit a decline, will never reverse. We never know precisely how many of us are alive at any one time, but this Tuesday, and the United Nations best estimate on when we'll reach 8 billion human beings. So just an estimate. 8 billion, it's a number too big to imagine, but think of it this way. In the time it takes you to read this paragraph, the world's population grew by around 20 people. This is from ABC News. While the Earth's population is growing quickly, the Earth's rate is starting to slow down. Eventually, it will start falling and our societies will shrink. Humanity is changing day by day in ways we cannot perceive over short periods, but in a way we will reshape our world over the coming century. We've already hit peak child. There will never again be more children alive than there are today, with fertility rates plummeting across the globe. We're getting older and older, which means there are fewer people able to work to support more people who can't. Cities are expanding, chewing up arable farmland as they go. Yeah, over the years, I've seen a lot of farmland turn to subdivisions, even in populated counties. Oh, let's see what else we got here to read. Yeah, farmlands are disappearing. Pop and strip malls and subdivisions are popping up. Let's see, what's this one here? Is it better to buy a newer car with high mileage or an older car with low mileage? That is the question. Let's see what we got here. If your current car is getting long in the tooth, you may be kicking around the idea of buying a newer one with higher mileage. Despite the extra ticks on the clock, the thought of updating technology and less maintenance could be a key deciding factor when going this route. However, if you purchase an older car with lower mileage, you could save yourself some money. In this case, which option is a better choice? Man, that's a old. I'd be ashamed right around with that. Anyway, buying an older car could be right for you if its history checks out. In reality, it doesn't matter how many miles are on the car odometer, so long as it is well cared for. An older car with low mileage could maintain that it was no, it could mean that it was driven 10,000 miles per year for 15 years, equaling to 150,000 miles on the odometer. But it could also mean that the car was driven for only 5,000 miles per year for 15 years, which means it only has 75,000 miles on the clock. Either way, if you're buying an older car with a lower mileage, it's important to learn as much as possible about the car's history, reports Instamotor. That's from Instamotor. To reality, it doesn't matter if the 15-year-old car has 75,000 miles on it, if those miles were tacked on by short, hard drives. In that case, there's a chance the car could need some repairs 15,000 miles down the road. Let me read a little more on this. Conversely, if a car has 150,000 miles on the odometer, it was driven through 15 years of steady highway cruising. With all of its routine maintenance done, you may not have to worry about it too much in the future. One way to find out is to obtain a vehicle history report from Carfax or AutoCheck. Also, it could be especially helpful if the previous owner had kept records of the car's maintenance history. That's what I do. I keep records. Is buying a newer car with higher mileage a better idea? A newer car with higher miles could have its own set of issues. For example, if you're looking for a 3-year-old car with 60,000 miles, sound like something I bought on the odometer, that's an average of 20,000 miles per year. Are those hard-earned short miles or graceful highway cruising miles? Chances are they are the later, which means you'll be able to squeeze a lot more out of it. However, if the car has gone through 20,000 miles of bumper-to-bumper traffic every year, there's a chance that it could have dry plastic pieces in the engine bay or premature engine or transmission wear. Either way, it's important to check the car's history report to get an idea of the type of maintenance that have been done to it. How about a car from a rental place? So hopefully they kept good record. I doubt it though. The ultimate answer is it depends. No two cars are the same, which means that if you put two identical used cars together with the same mileage, one could be in better shape than the other. So true. At the end of the day, a newer car with high mileage could have the same potential drawbacks as an older and lower miles. No, if anything, we would suggest buying a newer car with the lowest mileage that your budget can afford, as long as its history report and pre-purchase inspection checked out. Let's see what we got here. I know I heard the Mississippi been getting lower. What's going on with the Mississippi water level and how is it impacting the country? A crisis on the Mississippi. The mighty Mississippi River is currently suffering from record low water levels, which has grounded boats, affected tourism, and caused unprecedented um, yeah, shipping delays all over the river. How did the situation get so bad? And that's all it says. This is from the Daily Digest. Nothing to click on for more. Except for photos. Okay, they got words on each picture. Dry conditions are to blame. Months of dry condition in the Ohio River Valley seems to be to blame. The U.S. Drought Monitor estimated that roughly 77% of the country is currently facing abnormal dryness or drought conditions, and that has been bad for everyone. The worst drought in years. More than 134 million Americans are affected by the drought, a figure that the Drought Monitor reported was the worst since the severe drought of 2016. Just 3 feet above sea level. While the current drought in Middle America has limited the growing season and encouraged infestation and diseases in certain crops, it has also reduced the Mississippi River to just 3 feet above sea level in some areas. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers comments, it's approaching some historical lows that we'll never have had here, said Heath Jones, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Chief of Emergency Management for the New Orleans District in an interview with the Atlantic. Everything is threatened. More than one-third of rainfall in the United States ends up in the Mississippi River, and that rainfall then feeds thousands of ecosystems and industries all along the river. Without adequate water levels, everything is threatened. Salt water is creeping up the Mississippi. One of the biggest problems caused by the river's low water levels is the changing transition point of fresh water to salt water. And lower Mississippi, salt water has quickly crept higher into the river, and that has had serious impact on residents in Louisiana. Some areas most affected so far has been New Orleans Parish, which is home to roughly 24,000 people. and hundreds of water-dependent industries that require fresh water to stay in business. But national officials have warned that the situation may soon affect the wider country as trade on the river slows. Shipping is backed up. Man of the barges. With water levels so low, trade along the Mississippi has taken a serious hit. Traffic jams and stuck barges are creating chaos all along the river. Bloomberg reported on October 7th that over 2,000 shipping barges have backed up at various points along the river, and the situation hasn't improved. That they opened up the dams on the upper Mississippi, let more water in. What are the costs? According to the Port of New Orleans, roughly $130 billion of goods are ferried along the Mississippi River annually. It figured that represents about 90% of American agricultural exports. Trade at the standstill, but all of the trade has quickly reached a standstill as water levels continue to drop. Most shipping barges are unable to traverse the river at its current levels, and the situation is dangerously close to shutting down all of America. America could shut down. America is going to shut down if we shut down. Mike Ellis, CEO of American Commercial Barge Lines in Indiana, told the Wall Street Journal in mid-October. America's highway to the international world. But how could the situation of the Mississippi River have had such drastic consequences of the country? Well, because the river is basically America's highway to the international world. Everything from steel and coal to soybeans and wheat uses the Mississippi to access the global market, and this is having a serious impact on inflation. Alan Barrett commented in a recent interview, the NPR Ayesha Rayco economic. Alan Barrett explained what the Mississippi's low water level meant for the flood of goods in America, and it wasn't good. Driving up inflation. If you think inflation is driving the cost of goods up, hold on to your debit card because it could get worse. Thanks to the Mississippi River, Barrett said. The river acts as a highway for critical goods, moving roughly 500 million tons worth of products. The real loser in the current situation are consumers. The shipping backup on the Mississippi could not be remedied with existing truck and rail infrastructures, so products will have to be stored, and the costs associated with the storage and transport are going to be passed on to the end consumer, making the current inflationary crisis that much worse. Will the situation get better? In the end, there is some hope. American officials on the federal and state levels have band together to help alleviate the issue. The Tennessee Valley Authority announced earlier this week that it would release more water from 2 dams to help raise the water level in the Mississippi. See, that's what I'm saying, just open up the dams. Duh. A statement from Tennessee Valley Authority to help stabilize commercial navigation conditions on the lower Ohio and Mississippi rivers. We are scheduling special water releases from Kentucky Dam on the Tennessee River and Barkley Dam on the Cumberland River to help low river levels impact, the agency wrote. Hopefully, these measures will be enough to avert a total economic catastrophe. And that's it. That's all we got there. Now, let me get back to what I was doing the last few days about these cars here. We left off at number 14, Cadillac XTS. I won't read too much. This video is probably pretty long anyway, this newscast. This one's number 13, Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. So far, we haven't got the mine vehicle. Though some might be argue that the iconic Wrangler and its four-door Wrangler Unlimited version are among the best performing off-road vehicles. They suffer from limited passenger comfort, harsh and erratic ride and handling capability, and excess wind noise at higher speed. True, they get great resale value, but the Wranglers place among the lowest scoring model in Consumer Report testing, with the Unlimited also following. On its worst values list, the original Jeep's Descendant also gets low marks in initial quality performance by the J.D. Power. Okay, what else we got here? There, got lost. Still got a little ways to go. Number 12, Lincoln MKS, continuing with little more than just cosmetic versions since its debut for the 2009 model year. This full-size Ford Taurus-based model in the world of Consumer Reports doesn't cut it as a luxury sedan. Powered by a choice of a turbocharged or non-turbocharged V6 engine, it gets a below-average performance rating for J.D. Power and a below-average residential value ranking from ALG. Consumer Reports editors further cite that from being one of the worst values among new cars, adding insult to injury, the MKS is fitted with the My Lincoln Touch multimedia operating system that confounds and distracts drivers at every turn. Okay, what else we got here? You can find these on Forbes. 37 new cars to avoid. Number 11, Lincoln MKT, the luxury version of the boxier-looking Ford Flex. Got ugly to me. 7-passenger crossover SUV shares this engine and mini feature with the aforementioned MKS and has been around for nearly as long as that model without undergoing a major update. It received below average scores for initial quality and reliability from J.D. Power and below average marks. This is essentially Lincoln version of the Ford Flex crossover SUV, though it is featured far more expressive styling. Its adequate power by a 3.7-liter V6 engine but really shines when fitted with the available turbocharged EcoBoost version that gets equivalent fuel economy. It can seat up to 7 passengers in style and comfort. Okay, that's all I'm gonna read to you right now today. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. And oh, this camera turned on me. I hit my desk with my hand earlier. Anyway, like, comment, remark, and all that jazz. So until tomorrow, folks, have a good day.